everybody for showing up. Carly Tegmeyer from Canvas is going to be introducing us to the Canvas Learning Management System, and I'm just going to kind of let her take over and
Thank you.
Roll with it.
Good to go. All right. Thanks, you guys, for coming. As Susan mentioned, my name is Carly. I'm the Regional Sales Director for Kansas. So excited to be here today. By the raise of hands, how many people have actually seen Kansas? Blah. Okay, a couple people. A little bit? Or spent more than a little bit of time in there? No? A little bit? A lot of it? Okay, all right. So we're going to do kind of something pretty high level today, but I have kind of a demo that we go through. I've seen the rubric that you guys have, so I'll try to hit those points as we go through and cover anything that we need to at the end. But I'm pretty casual and flexible, so if questions come up throughout the demo, please don't hesitate to ask. How many people have also heard kind of the Canvas story, where we came from, and our startup story? One. All right, maybe a repeat for you, but I like to tell the story. I think it's a fun startup story, and I think it's pretty applicable to who we are and what we'll continue to be in the future. We were actually founded in 2008 by two grad students at BYU. Their names were Brian and Devlin, and they were actually taking a tech startup course taught by Josh Coates, who is now our CEO. He had a previous startup company called Mozilla, which is a cloud storage-based company, so he's an expert in cloud storage, which is why we are, a true cloud native provider as well. But he gave them some interesting advice as far as tech startups go. He said, find a broken piece of technology, and there's likely a business opportunity. So without a doubt, Brian and Devlin, our co-founders, knew that the most broken piece of technology they were using was the LMS at their school. So they thought, for sure, BYU just made a bad decision, right? This can't be the best thing out there. So they started doing some research. Come to find out, it actually was the best thing out there. It was the industry leader at the time. And really it was technology that was built in the 90s, super outdated, which is kind of the way education is, right? Unfortunately, it's the last industry to kind of take advantage of a lot of the technology advances. So they started making some mock-ups. Before they wrote a single line of code, they went out and visited 17 different schools to get feedback from the community. What did people like about their current systems, what they didn't like, and really what a rock star LMS would look like. So they talked to anybody and everyone who would talk to them. I'm sure, as you can imagine, a lot of those people were faculty because they were frustrated with their systems. So they took all that feedback, came back to Salt Lake City, Utah, which is where we're based out of, and started writing Canvas over the next 2 years. So 2010, they hired on some business people, started selling Canvas like crazy. Since then, we've had a lot of success. We are over 400 customers now. And the vast majority of those are higher institutions, but we also do K-12 and some corporate as well. But we're a little bit over 6 million users globally. Our biggest customer by far is the Cisco Networking Academy. It's part of their social responsibilities program, and they alone have over 1 million users globally. So any questions kind of about our background, the company in general?
Who else does the company have contracts with, statewide contracts?
Right, there's a few of them. So we just signed up Mississippi. Washington State Board of Community and Technical Colleges is ours. Utah Education Network is ours as well. And I believe Alabama State System. And we do have a consortium deal with the Kansas Board of Regents for any schools that come on. They get to benefit from all the other schools as well.
Do you have a contract with the state of Utah?
Yeah.
Because I know you get your board. What
Yeah.
about New Mexico?
We have NMSU and I believe Western. So we have a couple over there. We have Maricopa Community Colleges. But as far as statewide systems, I think the Washington, Utah, Alabama, Mississippi are the big statewide ones that I know of. All right. Awesome. So kind of bringing it back full circle of why that's relevant to you guys is that Canvas was built based on user feedback. We value that heavily. Our community help, or our Canvas Help Center has our feature request forum. So directly from the Canvas interface, you get to request features. And then when you go to the Help Center, you get to search features, vote on other features that people have requested, and then see which ones we plan to implement, see which ones have been implemented already. I believe there's 181 features that were requested that have already been implemented. And we open up a dialogue with our clients so they get to go back and forth across our user base and find out what's important to them and if it goes along with the Canvas vision and what we should actually make a part of Canvas. So it's really important to us. Let's go ahead and jump in. I'm going to take a seat so I can more easily navigate. This page that you guys have probably been looking at for the last 5 minutes is our dashboard. So this is a page every user is going to land on when coming into Canvas, and that's regardless of what role they play. So if I'm a student, a TA, a teacher, I'm going to see this page. But what it is activity going on across all of the courses and groups that I'm involved in as a user. So the old way of doing things is you'd kind of have to log in, dig down into each course to see what's going on and to participate. And that makes the system a little clicky. And one of the biggest pieces of feedback Brian and Devlin got on their product validation tour is that people wanted a system that was less clicky. They didn't have to click 3, 4, 5 times to get where they wanted to go. So we accomplished that a couple of different ways. One is by bringing everything forward in this activity stream, and they can dig down into each of these to see what discussions are going on. And then also, we've created hot links all over the system, so they can navigate directly to this discussion from this page. Coming over to the right-hand panel, we have some to-do items. So Canvas recognizes that I'm a teacher in these courses, so it's going to tell me what needs grading. If you can read the subtext up there when I highlight. I can see it on my desktop. It's definitely a lot lighter up here. But it tells me how many I need to grade, and it's a hot link, so I can jump directly into grading those assignments from this page. Where I need 12 graded here, if I go to grade, I only get halfway through. Next time I come into Canvas, this is still going to show up. It's just going to say 6 need grading. So it's not going to disappear just because I started grading but didn't finish. Canvas also recognizes that I'm a student in some of these courses, so it's going to show me what I need to turn in as a student. So if I hover, I can see what courses these pertain to, Intro to Ocean, how many points possible, and what the due date is. These are also hot links. I can jump directly into that assignment and get working on that as well. We also have coming up, so this will be anything that's coming up in the next week on the calendar, and then recent feedback as well. So anything that's been graded is going to show up here with the score, what course it pertains to, and any comments as well. Up here we have our global navigation. So if I hover over courses and groups, I'm going to see all the courses that I'm participating and what role I'm playing in those courses as well. So you can see I'm a teacher in these courses, I'm a TA in this course, and I'm a student in these courses as well. There's some standard roles in Canvas. They are a teacher, student, TA, observer, and designer. But we also have the ability to add custom roles both at a course level and at an admin level. So if there's maybe a set of super user faculty members, which I'm sure all of you are, right? They can have an elevated set of permissions, so they can actually do more in the system than the default faculty members. Or likewise, maybe there's some faculty that you don't want doing some things, you can take some permissions away, but you guys don't have to worry about that. There's also, as I mentioned, custom admin roles, so you can have super admins or admins for specific departments. The center column is the groups that I'm participating in. So groups are cool in Canvas because teachers can create groups for students to work on projects together, but students can actually create their own groups independent of the instructor. So if they want to get together and work on a project where it wasn't designated they needed to do that, they could create their own group. They could also create study groups or even groups for extracurricular activities. And we'll jump into those a little bit later to show you what tools are available to them. But they have access to a lot of the same tools you do within a course. So they can post announcements, have discussions, virtual conferences, collaborations on Google Docs or Etherpad if they don't have a Gmail account. And most users won't see this last column. This is for admins only. If I hover over assignments, I'm going to see what I need to turn in as a student and what I need to grade as a teacher. So, of course, if I'm a teacher and I hover over assignments, I'm not going to see a to turn in column, right? So this is everything that's just specific to me as a user. And then we have grades and calendar. Before we jump into a course, I want to take you guys over to the user profile page. This is something every user is going to want to set up immediately upon coming into Canvas. So we have some basic user information here, and of course I have the ability to set a profile picture. This is actually an admin permission, so if you guys don't want to use avatars, which is the ability to have profile pictures, you can take that away. But I really like this, number one, because I'm really bad with names, so being able to have a face with a name is important to me personally, but especially with hybrid or fully online courses, trying to replicate the interaction you get in that face-to-face environment is so important online. So I think the pictures help people establish the more peer-to-peer connection, also peer-to-teacher connection as well. Over here we have ways to contact. So in general, we think about this page as choosing your communication channels. So you're telling Canvas how you want to be communicated with. So probably the default here will be the school email address based on an integration with your student information system. But as much as we'd like to think that students check that email regularly, they might not. So they actually have the ability to come in here and add additional email addresses. So I can add my Gmail, I can add my work email address, I can add as many additional email addresses as I want. And I also have the ability to add my cell phone number for text messaging. And again, this is just between me and Canvas, so I'm not making this available to my students or to my colleagues. This is just for me personally. Coming down the page, we have some out-of-the-box integrations that we make available. So you can see that I've registered my LinkedIn, Facebook, Google Docs, and Twitter account. And there's some additional services over here. I've also checked this box that allows my fellow course and group members to see what services I've registered. So when they go to the People tab, they can link over to my Facebook and my Twitter and my LinkedIn account directly from Canvas. So if you guys are big on community and encouraging interaction outside of their courses, that's a big one. And also, people just like to stay in touch virtually, when their courses are done. So that's a good way to do that. And this isn't required, but you can encourage students to do that. So maybe, in the syllabus, you can say, hey, I encourage you guys to register your services and allow people to see those so you can stay connected. The Google Doc integration, we'll talk a little bit more also, but this is my favorite integration. I know you guys are a Google school, but this will do a couple of things. So we do collaborations on live documents, so Google Docs, but also I have access to my entire drive of Google Docs from Canvas just by registering my account. So students, if they're allowed to submit a Google Doc as an assignment, they will have a window that has their entire drive directly within Canvas. So it's literally just a check mark to submit that, and it's done. Really easy for them.
Is there a way to set up space for Google Drive for course level access, or just user level access?
Great. So yeah, you can have collaborations across the entire course. So if you invite everyone into your course to that document, they can all participate on a single Google Doc. Yeah. So where this really all comes into play is notifications. This by far and away is our student favorite feature. As you can see, this top bar is all the ways I told Canvas that I want to be communicated with. And the left-hand side is all the activities or events in Canvas that could prompt a notification. So as a student, I may come in here and say, due date changes, I definitely want to be notified of that. Maybe I want to get an email sent to my personal email address right away. I could get a notification daily, weekly, or never. So all of these blank boxes are saying I never want to get a notification about any of these items, which is fine, because all that means is that the student or the teacher has to log into the system to see what's going on. So it's kind of the old way of doing things, right? We're so used to things being pushed to us, whether it's on our mobile devices or our emails, that's how we're used to interacting, and we want to try and mirror that as much as possible in our courses. So the idea is we're trying to leverage the tools that users are already using and already successful with to interact with their courses. The best part about this system, though, is that not only are notifications being pushed out through the system, you can actually communicate back through Canvas using that tool. So for example, we have discussions down here. If I'm getting a text right away to my cell phone when there's a new discussion post, in order to participate in that discussion, all I have to do is hit reply and I can post. So that's going to go back to Canvas and then go back out to everyone else on their preferred devices and timeline per their notification preferences. So essentially you could have 10 people on text, 10 people on their personal email, and 10 people on Facebook, and they can all be participating in a discussion without even logging into the system. Yet in Canvas there would still be nicely threaded discussions, so there's an audit trail of everything going on. So in that way Canvas kind of acts as the communication hub. Everything goes out, goes back through Canvas, and then goes back out to all the users. Students love this. This would be huge for me. I'm pretty lazy, so if I would be able to interact with my courses without logging in, that would be pretty huge. But this is quite different from other systems. So any questions you guys have or concerns about this particular feature? No? Awesome. Good. So just as a reminder, at this point we're still at a user level. So once we dig into a course, this left-hand navigation will change. But at user level, we do have our own file repository. So this is nice for students and teachers because anything that gets uploaded to this file repository, you can then access anywhere you have internet. So you can log into Canvas, have access to all your files. You don't need to be on your personal computer or your own laptop or your home computer to access those. A student can be at a library or maybe at a friend's house and still be able to see those. And then we do have e-portfolios as well. Let's go ahead and jump into a course. I'm going to go into Intro to Geology, which I am an instructor in. And as you can see, this left-hand navigation has changed now that we're in a course. Some of these items are bold and some are grayed out. And what that means is when students log into the system, they actually get to see these grayed out items. It doesn't look like you guys can read those very well. They're outcomes, files, and pages. But essentially, this navigation can be customized per course. So I can come into my settings as an instructor and set this navigation. So maybe in my course, we're not going to be doing virtual conferences. So all I need to do is drag and drop it below, hit save, and that's now going to disappear from the student's left-hand navigation. I'll still have access to it as an instructor, but it's really nice for students because it allows them to focus on the tools that they're going to need to use in their course so they're not overwhelmed with a bunch of stuff that they don't need to have access to. Additionally, it allows the instructor to have students working through content the way that they want them to. So maybe you want your students working through their assignments via the modules, right? So you want them to go through things in a specific order, not be able to move forward until they've accomplished certain tasks. So maybe you don't want to give them access to the entire list of assignments. So it's just an easy way to force students, in a way, to work through the course the way you want them to or the way it was designed. Let's go back to this home page. There's a couple of ways to set this up. Right now, it's an assignment description with syllabus. This syllabus is auto-generated. So just by creating assignments, you add them to the syllabus. And when you add due dates, it reorders them based on the due date. So you can't have, undue dated items, right? So auto-generated. But there are some templates of how you want to set this up. So it could be an activity dashboard. So similar to that first page we saw of an activity only pertaining to this course as that front page. It could be a page you design yourself. So if you want to do some images and some videos, you could do that. You could have the course modules as a home page. That's how you want your students working through the assignments. Could be an assignment list or the assignments with syllabus the way that we have it right now. I think Canvas does a really good job of being flexible, allowing teachers to do things the way they want to, whether that's modules or assignments. Let's go over to the assignment page so we can see one way to do that. And we'll also create a new assignment so you can see what it looks like to create content in Canvas. This is the page where you would set your weighting of assignments. So we have assignments in groups, and these can be customized. And you can reorder these, if you want to, however you want it to look. But let's add an assignment, and we're going to do Ice Age analysis. And this is going to be, an assignment. Let's give it a due date of this Friday. Can't believe it's already May. That's crazy. And we'll do 20 points. So we've just stubbed out an assignment right here. Maybe we want to move this down a little bit to the last assignment in this category. And we're going to go in here and add some content. We use a WYSIWYG editor for creating content. We call it our rich content editor. But this is the same tool that is used across Canvas when creating content. And students have access to this tool as well. So announcements are created using this tool. Discussions, both back, when the teacher posts and the students post back. Even quizzes, you use this tool to create quiz questions, and students can answer quiz questions using this tool as well. And students also have the ability to submit assignments using this tool. So as we talk about it, just keep that in mind of all the different ways you can use this. So some basic formatting tools everyone's probably familiar with, and then we have some new fun stuff down here. So let's say watch the animated film Ice Age. Oops. And analyze the, oh man, my spelling today is bad, the historical accuracy, right? And you may want to review this PowerPoint. So we have a PowerPoint. We have it in our file repository. So we could say, hey, go find this PowerPoint, download it, look at it, and then watch this film. But we're going to use this content pane to the right to drop in that file. So here's our entire course file repository. You can arrange this by folders or however you want to. You can see we have some PowerPoints, some PDFs, Word, Excel. We're going to drop in this Ice Age PowerPoint, take out the .ppt. I'm going to center this to make it look kind of pretty. And then we're going to say, when done, start working on Module 2. But instead of saying Module 2 and then expecting them to know where to go find it and risk getting lost, because that happens, right, in LMSs, we're going to also use this content pane on the right to drop in a link directly to that module. And right here you have links to everything in your course. So all these wiki pages, all of your assignments, your quizzes. Here's our modules. So we're going to drop in a link to week 2. Really, really easy. To me, not only does this help with navigation so students aren't getting lost, but it really helps to build content in context. Because not only can you direct students forward in a course, you can direct them back. So you can say, hey, remember that discussion we had last week? Link them. Moving forward, now we're going to complete this assignment. So it's really easy for them to go back and forward in their course. So they're building a body of work and a body of knowledge. Maybe we want to drop in an image, make this look kind of pretty, right? We could use an image that we've already uploaded to our file repository here. If we wanted to upload something on the fly, we could do that from here as well. But we also provide a direct link to Flickr Creative Commons so you can search appropriately licensed images directly from this page. Here's all my images. I love this movie. This is super cute. We're going to drop in this one. Of course, we can come in here and resize it, center it, make it look however we want. Maybe I also want to drop in a video. I have added some external tools to my course. While we're on the topic, I'll show you guys our library of external tools that you can pop in at a course level. These tools can be made available to you at a couple of different levels. They can be plugged in at the account level, which is the entire institution, or they can be done at a sub-account level, which is a single department. But you as an individual instructor can even plug these in for your one-off courses. So some of these require you to hold your own license, but a lot of them are free. I really like the TED Ed. You can search TED Ed resources directly from your course, similar to how we did Flickr. So quite a few tools here. This is a public-facing website, so you can click into any of these, get a description of what the integration looks like, maybe even preview it as well. See, it looks similar to the Flickr, right?
Is that something that the faculty needs to install, or it has to be made available from the admin?
It can be done both ways. So the admin can make it available to everyone that lives in a certain account or a sub-account, but individual instructors can do it as well, and it's super easy. I can do it, and I'm not super techie, so it's just a matter of grabbing this configuration URL and popping it in. This one's free, so you don't have to have a secret or key that'll work with it, but something that did require you to hold your own license, you would have to get a secret or key from that vendor. But pretty easy to do. Coming back over here, I have integrated YouTube as a third-party tool, so I can search videos from this page. I apologize, it looks like our Wi-Fi's been a little bit slow. But we can also drop in videos from the website directly pretty easily. Oh, here we go. So we can do Ice Age trailer. Oops. Search the video and drop it in. And it's that easy. Say we didn't have that integrated, it's equally as easy to go to YouTube and find the video. Instead of having to mess with embed codes, all we have to do is grab the URL. So we're going to copy this, come back to our rich content editor, paste it, and Canvas not only recognizes that it's a link, it recognizes it's a video, and it went ahead and just embed that for us. We also give you the ability to upload your own media. This tool is not one that you'd have to plug in yourself. This does come standard in the rich content editor. So you can upload a video or audio file that you already have on your computer, but you can also record media on the fly. Maybe if you guys are having a bad hair day, you can do audio. It's okay, it happens to the best of us. But it's literally 3 clicks to drop in a video. So we'll just do one right now. I'm gonna allow my webcam to launch. Connecting, here we go. Record a quick video. Sometimes this struggles if our Wi-Fi is a little slow, so we'll give it a second. But just as a reminder, this is available across Canvas. So when you have a discussion, you can have entire discussions that are all video. This is pretty huge for distance learning programs because they are connecting students all over the globe. So they can have the teacher posts in video and all the students are responding in video. What's surprising is that teachers are saying there's better engagement in their online courses than in their face-to-face courses. Which kind of sounds funny, but you think about the way that we're used to interacting nowadays via Twitter and Facebook, it's really not surprising. It looks like our Wi-Fi is not going to let us connect, but I'll find another one where we can show you where you drop in a video. It's the same way as YouTube. It pulls up a bigger thumbnail and you can launch full screen as well. We'll find a good example of that for you guys.
Are those for your store in at the course level, or does it go somewhere in the
No, it's just in this assignment. So by recording the video, you're not necessarily adding it to your file repository. You're just posting it on this assignment.
And what if I want to export just that little piece of data?
If you wanted to record a video, you could do a couple of things. There is a third-party tool that is a YouTube uploader. So if you record the video to YouTube, then it would be stored there, and you'd be able to use it anywhere you wanted. But if you also just recorded them on your desktop, then you could then upload them to your file repository and link to them as we use that right-hand content.
Carly,
Yeah.
can we cut and paste from Word into this? Does it clean up the HTML and Word if we cut and paste into the text editor?
It should. You're talking about this kind of coding?
Yep.
Yep, should work just fine. I don't know if you guys know that you have access to our Free for Teacher accounts, but I'll mention it right now. If you go to instructure.com is our website, and you can sign up for a demo and our Free for Teacher accounts, which gives you, the Free for Teacher in particular, gives you access indefinitely to Canvas. You can try teaching a course, go in there, try bringing in content, and test it out for yourself if you want to. Let's go ahead and update this assignment so we can see what this looks like when it's done. There we go. So here's our PowerPoint. I love this preview icon. So I can view this PowerPoint directly in Canvas. I do not have to download it. I don't have to leave the interface to view this. I can view it directly from this page, and I can even go full screen as well. So I can go through this entire PowerPoint. This is nice because I think we find that students, anytime they have to go outside the system to do anything, even if it's just downloading an assignment, you risk them not coming back to the interface. So anytime they can consume content in line, it's going to be better for them. And also they're not having to use up space on their computers to download a bunch of assignments. Here's our link to our module. Here's the image that we dropped in, and here's our YouTube video. So you'll see that I get a little bit bigger. Then of course we can go full screen with any of these videos as well. Let's say we wanted to add a rubric to this assignment. Do you guys use rubrics in your courses right now?
What is a rubric?
I know, right? What's a rubric? I like that. It's super easy to do this in Canvas. The great thing about rubrics is that they can be shared across an entire institution or across a single department, or you can have rubrics specific to your own course. So if we wanted to find a rubric, here they are. And here's the hierarchy. So here's the account level rubrics. Here's our sub-account rubrics, so our individual department rubrics. And here's my course level rubrics. So I can go through, search which one I want to use, and we're just going to say use this rubric, and it's going to attach it to our assignment for us. Maybe I decide I want to add a criterion to this, so I'm just going to edit this rubric, come down here, add a criterion. Maybe we want creativity added here. Right now it's split into full marks or no marks, so maybe I want more point value possibilities. So it's as simple as clicking through each of these squares and then coming in and giving each of these a description as well. Maybe, though, I want to import a learning outcome. Learning outcomes, like rubrics, are also shared at an account and sub-account level in addition to having your own course level rubrics. So I can come in here, look through all the outcomes, decide which one I want to use, and import it to my rubric. And there it is. So these yellow banners here denote that each of these is a learning outcome. our attitude about rubrics and outcomes in general is that we're trying to make it so easy that it's silly not to use it. And it actually creates more work for you to not use rubrics and outcomes than it would be to just do it this way. And it's equally easy to grade assignments using rubrics and learning outcomes as well. I love this movie. It's so great. The last one was the best by far. So I'm going to go ahead and edit this assignment to show you that there are a couple of different submission types you can set. So maybe this is an online submission. You can do text entry, which will give students access to that rich content editor. So they have access to all those same tools the teacher does, any of those third-party tools that were plugged in addition to that video recorder. They could do a website URL. I love this for any teachers that are having students blog externally, because all they have to do is put that URL in the system. Canvas goes out, takes a screenshot of that URL at the time of submission so that there's an artifact in the system to grade. And then, of course, you can allow media recordings and uploads. You could restrict file types. I don't know if anyone's interested in that, but you could say, they can't submit PDFs here. Maybe they can only do Word. You can do that as well. And of course you can do group assignments and peer reviews, which is pretty straightforward. And you have on-paper submissions, or you can even allow submissions using external tools like those LTI tools that we were looking at as well. Any questions about content creation in general or assignment creation?
I don't know if the previous group asked about Flickr integration.
Yes, it does integrate.
It doesn't.
Okay. It's compatible.
So, good. I want to take you guys to an assignment where I know we have some good submissions, so we can take a look at our speed grader. We've integrated with a lot of third-party tools in Canvas because we love to play nice with other web technologies, but the speed grader is something that we have developed internally, and it is one tool that we also have a mobile app for, which I like even a little bit better than the desktop version. So here's another assignment. Oops. Let's make this a little bit bigger so you can see another example. It's a video, YouTube video, image, pretty straightforward. There's a rubric tied to this one as well. Let's go ahead and launch that speed grader. So here on the left-hand side, once this loads, we're going to get, here it is, a preview of that assignment. Once our Wi-Fi. Do you guys have problems with Wi-Fi here? Okay. All right, I'm like, I know this isn't Canvas. Sad. Okay, so here's the assignment that's been submitted. You can see what type of file over here. So this is a Word doc. It was late. You can see the date it was submitted. Of course, you can download this. You can grade it offline, and you can bulk download to grade offline from the assignment page. But you also have the ability to annotate. So we can do point, area, text comments. Okay. What is this? Okay. You can draw. We have a couple of color options. I've been practicing, but I still have a lot of work to do. Okay. You can highlight as well with a couple color options. And you can do text and strikeout. What's great about the annotation is that not only can teachers annotate, but students can annotate back. So once they get their assignment, they not only see all the teacher's annotations, they can come in here, hit reply, their name will show up, and they can say, what do you mean? What do you mean, what is this? Right? And they can also add, their own highlights or their own strikeouts. So if they want to draw their teacher's attention to a point of the document that they don't think they saw, they can do that. Go ahead.
The student replies to you in the assignment. Does it go to some notification center like under assignments, like needs grading?
So tell me what you mean. If they annotate here.
If I grade the assignment, but I left some notes to the student, and they come back, look at it, and leave comments to me, will it notify me in some way that the student responded to my comment?
Yes. Oh yeah. You'll definitely get a notification that there are additional comments on your assignment.
Now you said something about bulk downloading.
Yeah.
So explain that.
Sure. So if you want to grade offline, you can download submissions.
Oh, okay.
So we're here on the assignment page. So I can just download all these to grade offline. And then when I re-upload them to the system, Canvas will go through and redistribute those to all the students.
That's a nice
You,
feature.
you can even annotate offline, like Word documents, as long as you maintain the file name. Canvas will recognize that and redistribute them to everyone, and it will hold the annotations. So, yeah, it is
What type
nice.
of flickers and checkers are used for this?
We don't have anything natively integrated, but we do integrate with Turnitin. So when you set up the assignment, there's a checkbox that says this is a Turnitin assignment. And with the speed grader, it comes up with just a banner, a red banner here showing the originality report. So it's a pretty
And
nice
students can
integration.
access that as well.
Yes, they do see that. Absolutely. Over here is where we actually give the student a grade. We could give them a total grade, but we can also grade using that rubric. And it's as simple as clicking through each of these boxes to assign point values. You can give half points. And these boxes under each of these rows allows you to give feedback per rubric row. So maybe they did really well on the assignment as a whole, but there was one thing they just totally blew. You can come in here and say, need some work. So really rich feedback for the student, really focused so they know exactly what they should be working on. The nice thing is that just by grading this assignment using a rubric where a learning outcome is attached, I'm automatically reporting on outcomes for this student, right? So if I go run a report of outcomes for the student, both from a teacher's perspective and an admin's perspective, I'll see this student's name, I'll see that they got 5 out of 5 on this learning outcome, and I can also hit show artifact and see this assignment where they demonstrated successful completion of that learning outcome. So it's all done just by selecting this box right here. Makes it really easy for accreditation. No extra work for the instructor. Down here we can have an entire discussion with the student about the assignment as a whole, and I can go back and forth as many times as I need to, and you have ability to do that using that same video tool.
That video tool doesn't work within the rubric, it's just for the overall assignment.
Right. Yep, just a discussion. So as I mentioned, this is really nice on the iPad. Pull up your assignment, tap, tap, tap through the rubric, record a quick video, swipe to the next student. So quick, so easy.
So you can do that with sound and.
Yep, audio and video.
How compliant is this with for students with disabilities?
Accessibility is a really big deal for us. I am definitely not an accessibility expert, but I know that the video is really nice for students that are ASL, so they can do their sign language, their videos in sign languages and sign language. And we also just recently added the ability to caption the videos as well.
I think you guys have a golden award from the National Federation
Yes.
a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
So,
Yep. Yeah, we were actually the quickest learning platform to get that, so it's really nice. Any questions about the speed grader? This is by far and away our teacher favorite tool. The feedback we're getting is this is cutting grading time in half, saving hours of grading per week. So this is really nice.
Especially with the sound comments.
Yeah. One thing that I was surprised about that teachers really liked is for discussions. When you launch the speed grader, you see all the students' individual discussion posts, and then you can also view them in context. And so side by side, you can reply to the discussion over here, but then post private, discussion comments over here, and kind of do it dual purpose in one view, which is apparently pretty nice. But I didn't think about that before.
Does all this functionality work for different kinds of assignments too, like exams and so on?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
So you can do a similar type thing with a qualitative exam?
Right.
Like a written answer?
Yeah, anywhere they have a written answer, absolutely, you can use the speed grader.
Can you grade an equation that students submit using the math editor?
If they're using the rich content editor, which has the equation editor, then yes, it would be graded using the speed grader. But if you did a multiple choice answer, then that would be automated.
Does your equation editor integrate with like LaTeX or?
Yeah, let's look it up. Let's look at it. I kind of skip over it. A lot of times we don't have math teachers in our presentations, so no one else really cares, but we can definitely look at them. They're like, numbers, symbols. But from the feedback that I've heard is that this is a pretty robust tool. There we go. So, and it is, you can also do LaTeX as well. See, who cares about this in here besides Susan?
Yeah.
See? I knew it.
Well, it's funny if we purchase it and then we get math people.
Oh.
That's so of our classes we use content created and articulate. We can articulate.
Yep.
And it creates this file with
Yes,
a bunch
form.
of folders.
Yeah.
Is that hard to get to work?
No. Articulate produces majority SCORM packages, which we are SCORM compliant. SCORM isn't always the best, but we work with it. We're compliant. I'm going to pull up my my outline so I make sure we don't miss anything that I wanted to talk to you guys about. We went over rubrics. Awesome. Speed grader. So I know you guys care about attendance. Attendance is actually one of those third-party tools that you can plug in at an account level, so you can opt in and opt out of it as an institution. Just by creating the tool, it does create a column in the gradebook for attendance, and as an instructor, you get to define, how many points are possible for being on time, being late, how many they're docked, so that is automatically calculated in the gradebook. Let's jump over to the gradebook. That kind of makes the most sense at this point to see what that looks like.
So if I said I want to take out 10% per day, it's like it would do that.
Yes. Yep. And I apologize for the Wi-Fi as we come over here. So this page shows courses I'm taking as a student and courses I'm teaching as an instructor. So let's jump into a gradebook where I'm actually an instructor. Here we go. So nice thing is I can view this in all sections or look at specific sections. Do you guys use TAs at all for grading? No? Oh.
It's all full time.
You guys are worked to death. Yeah, exactly. No, I like that. If you ever did use TAs, TAs can be assigned to specific sections, but you guys don't care about that. A couple of nice things about this gradebook, you can upload and download scores using CSV. So if you download the scores and you add a column in the CSV, which is basically like an Excel spreadsheet, you can do that. Then when you re-upload that to Canvas, a column will be created. Depending on, I know you guys use a homegrown SIS, but some SIS integrations do allow for publishing of grades in a midterm and end of semester. So one button click to do that is pretty nice as well. Coming in here, you can rearrange these columns however you want to see fit, which is really nice. You can condense these as well. A lot of these are by points, but you can also do percentages. You can do letter grades. And there's also, I don't know if we have a good example of that. Here we go. The incomplete or complete. So a couple different ways to grade. Yeah?
Does instructor have the student view? Can view the gradebook as a student?
Yes, definitely. We'll jump over to that so you guys can see what they see. Across Canvas, we've tried to be really consistent about the interface between teacher and student. So teachers will typically have access to a couple of additional buttons as far as editing or creating new content, but there are a couple places that it's significantly different, and Gradebook is one of them. So we'll switch over to student view and look at that. And teachers always have access to student view so they can see exactly what the students are seeing. Also from the gradebook, what I really like is the ability to comment from the gradebook. So on any student, on any assignment, you can send them a message. So if they missed something, they didn't turn it in. But you also have the ability to do message students who. So I can send a message to all students who haven't submitted yet. I can say, send a message to students who scored less than 8 out of 10. And it's going to pull those students up, show their score, and I can write them a message saying, go ahead and resubmit this. Okay? It's an easy way to do that. You also have the ability to mute assignments, so maybe you don't want grades going out to all the students until you're done grading all of them. So you just mute that assignment, and then you have to go back in and unmute it in order to release those grades to everyone. And here's all the weightings, and so there's the weighting up here, and all the different groups, and then the total grade in the final column as well. Any questions about the gradebook before we go over and see the student view?
So when you're posting a message on the gradebook, is there a way to attach that to the actual announcements page?
Ooh, tell me more.
So for example, you're sending a message for those who scored below 8 over 10. Will the same message be on the announcements or notifications page?
So it'll show up on the recent activity stream because it'll be a conversation message, which is kind of the internal messaging system in Canvas. So that will show up on that activity dashboard. So essentially it'll be a notification, but if they want to be notified of it, they would have to go to the notifications page and elect to get a notification of new conversation messages. Does that make sense? Because this goes out as a conversation message. So they would have to elect to do that.
Can you set up the grading schemas?
Yep.
Color coding?
Ooh, color coding. We don't do color coding of grading schemas. I think one thing I've heard kind of issues with color coding is accessibility to students who are colorblind. There are ways to do it with a page you design yourself. So if you do your own page, you can essentially, make that super fancy and put all your assignments there and have them color coded. But there's not an automatic way to do that in the UI. All right, let's go back to our course homepage and jump in from a student perspective to see what their gradebook looks like. And as I mentioned, at any time, teachers can go over to the student view. But as you'll see once we switch over, it's pretty consistent throughout the system so that, when teachers are trying to direct students where to go, they are looking at the same thing. So student view. So now that we're in student view, you guys can see that we don't see those grayed out items, right? So we're only seeing the tabs that the teacher wanted us to have access to. Here's our course homepage. Looks similar. We can see the weighting on the homepage, and we're missing a couple of editing buttons, but other than that, it's pretty similar.
Does it show you things on the calendar
and not when. No, not from this page when you hover over them. I think this quick view is just to be able to tell which day of the week, are certain dates.
I like the fact that you show the grade to the students, so throughout the semester we know where they stand, so that's pretty useful for the students to see that.
Yeah.
Can I change the weight to a point system, or is that by default is a percentage?
I believe you can. I've been in product demonstrations when they've said yes. I personally don't know how to do it, unfortunately, but I know you can. Let's jump over to grades, though, and see what that looks like from a student perspective.
For that recent feedback, that would show up in the assignment that I created.
Yes.
Yep. So not to go to the gradebook to find it.
Right. Yeah, they would see that immediately upon coming into the course. So here's the student gradebook. These are hot linked to each of the assignments, so you can go to those. It doesn't look like from this view I can see ones that have been turned in. But a really nice thing about the student gradebook is the ability to run what-if scenarios. So I'm sure you guys get asked questions all the time. Hey, if I get a 80% on my next assignment, what will that take my final grade to? Right? I know I did it a ton when I was a student. So we empower students to do that themselves, so they can come in here and run what-if scenarios. So what if I get a 13 out of 15 on this? What if I get full score? What if I get a 0 on this? What does that take my total score to? Right? So this is nice. Some teachers are using this as a planning tool and kind of a goal-setting tool. So they'll have students go in the first day and say, hey, what kind of grade do you want to get in this course? Great. Set it up so that you know exactly what you need to get on all these assignments. And then as they're updated, as they turn them in through the semester, they can keep updating the future assignments so they know what they have to turn in and what grades they need to get in order to get that B or get that A.
It won't be exceed, I'll just keep everything.
And then you can always revert to your actual score as well. I'll have to go into some of my test students to see. Here, let me do something really quick because I want to show you guys one other feature that's really nice about the student gradebook. Because not only are you seeing your grade, you can actually see comments on that assignment from the gradebook, and you even get a bar scale of where you fell in respect to everyone else in that course. You can see if you're at the low end or the high end. I think it's nice to have a little healthy, competitive feeling within your courses, right? Well, while this is pulling up, do you guys have any questions about the gradebook or what we saw so far as the what-if scenarios, student view?
I don't on that, but now this is all cloud-based, right?
That's right.
And so at the end of the semester, do you wipe out all these courses?
No.
Or archive? Or
Yeah.
how does,
Yeah.
say a student takes an incomplete and wants to finish it a year from now.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Nothing is ever deleted with Canvas, right? So nothing when you conclude a course, it'll automatically be archived. So when you go to your course list, you'll be able to see past enrollments and current enrollments. You'll always be able to access those, so nothing's ever hard deleted.
So if the student has an incomplete, we just open that course just for that student to finish?
I'll have to follow up on that one, how that works as far as incompletes and giving students. So how are you guys doing it right now? You open the course back up and...
Oh, that's a first
Well,
question.
Just for that.
Yeah, how does that,
So
just for that student?
And the instructor can still keep the students in the old course shelf, and if there is no interactions like discussion board, forums, or they can choose a second option, add a student in the current semester class and interact with the current students on the discussion boards groups.
Okay. Let me follow up on that for you, and I'll give that information to Susan and have her pass that along. So, incompletes and how that works once a course is concluded. That's a good question, though. Okay, so I'm going to jump into the... yeah, go ahead.
Are all of your servers in the U.S.?
That is a good question. So right now we're only utilizing servers in the U.S. We're hosted by Amazon Web Services, so they have servers across the U.S.,
Right.
which is great for you guys, right? Because as far as disaster recovery, all of your data is replicated in all of those locations. So if something happens to one of the servers, another one is automatically spun up in a different location. And it was also as far as scalability as well. So if you're tapping out the server you're on, we automatically spin up another server to account for those additional
That's
students.
because we have students and teachers in China,
Yeah,
so
I
they would be
heard that.
accessing the servers though here in the U.S. though, right? And you don't have
Yes.
anything overseas.
Yeah, we're working on launching internationally over the next year. So we can utilize Amazon servers in other locations outside the U.S. We're doing one in Ireland for University of Birmingham, who just signed up. So we do have the ability to do that, but right now we're only working on servers in the U.S. We haven't had an issue with students and teachers in China accessing Canvas, though. I know they have some issues with security, but we haven't had to deal with that at all, fortunately.
Do you have anything on badges?
Yeah, Mozilla. I know that we just are either we're working on it or that we just released an integration with Mozilla badges. So yeah, I know that we're working on that.
It will be interesting to see the grade distribution and assigned badges.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be student specific, but people assignment is skill specific. So
Yeah, I think we're still working on it because I haven't seen anything actually made available in production yet. But I know that people are super excited about that. So I'll put that on the list of stuff that you guys are interested about and get some follow-up information or updates on that for you guys. I just want to bring up this other gradebook so you can see where some assignments have been graded. This blue indicator shows, newly graded assignments. So this one was just marked complete. That's great. But here I can see scoring details. So here's that chart where I can see where I fall in regards to the rest of the course. I don't think I have any ones that have comments, but those comments will also show up down here in addition to, peer comments. So if there's peer reviews, all of those peer review comments will show up, by clicking into the grading details. Ooh, I don't have one either. Let's jump over to the calendar. This is my personal favorite feature. And not surprisingly, it's one of the least used in other LMSs, but one of the most used in Canvas because it is kind of multi-purpose. Did I click on it? Oh, it's still connecting. Okay. So once we get into this page, you'll recognize that it does look very similar to Google Calendars. And that's definitely by design. We have tried to borrow from other popular web applications where possible. Because if a system works the way a user expects it to based on previous experience, it's going to drastically reduce the training barrier. I wonder if...
privacy issue? Is the information that go in here, is it shared by third party?
Oh, no.
No, nothing, it just stays there,
Yeah.
unlike Google as an LMS.
Right.
So that takes everything from there, and that's why students are reluctant to using it sometimes.
Sure. No issues with that. Ooh, we're still connecting. Do you guys have better luck if you click on it lots and lots of times? Does it go faster?
it makes it worse.
It's like a video game? Like just keep clicking faster. Yeah, it makes me feel better. Even if it doesn't actually work, it makes me feel better. Well, we'll take the opportunity while the internet is catching up to answer general questions about some of the stuff we've looked at.
Can you
Go ahead.
change the colors and everything up here, or does it have to
Yeah.
stay, or you can
Not-
keep it?
And the
Not-
font size and everything, because it's very kind of boring right now.
Sure. Not at the course level, but at an account or sub-account level, you guys have the ability to brand your instance of Canvas. So schools are going in there, changing fonts, colors, adding logos, and you can do that for the entire institution or specific departments. So the math department branding can look different than
But you
the English
can't
department.
change it within the course.
Right. You don't have themes. Yeah, I've seen Blackboard's new service pack, how they do the themes where you can go in and do all the different colors. We don't do that. It is kind of cool. I like it.
I have a question about real-time communication options.
Yeah.
Do you have any built-in video conferencing?
We
Well,
do.
you've got the asynchronous audio and video. Do you have?
Yep. You'll see over on this left-hand navigation, we do have conferences. So we've integrated Big Blue Button as our conferencing tool. It's a pretty lightweight conferencing tool, but you do have the ability to share presentations, do whiteboarding, video, audio. Currently, you don't have the ability to archive, so that's kind of the one downside. But a lot of schools that already have a conferencing tool will just swap out Big Blue Button for whatever they're using. So Integrity, BB Collaborate.
Does it record?
Not this one that's natively built in. Does not archive yet. 50 per session.
50?
Mm-hmm.
You integrate with Adobe Connect, right?
Yep, we do integrate with Adobe Connect as well. Yeah, so you can just swap those out. That's really easy to do.
When you compare this with other LMSs, how memory resident is it? Because as you can tell, we have issues with our server already.
Okay.
If we're comparing this with Blackboard, I mean, is this faster? Is it slower? Is it about the same? Or does it depend on, other things?
Sure, it should be faster. Because we are a cloud native provider, it means that we're not hosting you guys on servers in our basement at the Canvas building. Amazon Web Services, that is what they specialize in. They have servers across the U.S., so it allows you to scale, for huge institutions. As I mentioned, we have over 6 million institutions. With the way it works, even if like Blackboard's hosting you, they can add server capacity as you need it, right? So you kind of slow down and then they add more, slow down, add more. But with the cloud, we call it automated provisioning, and you can actually always be ahead of the curve as far as when you need to have server space. Yeah, go ahead.
How about the loading? Since we have an international course, you kind of have a different learning culture. So the students that are taking the exam at the same time, and usually hundreds of the students are taking exam at the same time. So how about the loading capacity?
Shouldn't be an issue. I mean, that's what we plan for, right? So that's the whole point of the cloud, is that we know we're gonna have tons of users on at midterms and beginning of semester and end of semester. So we plan on that, and we know that's gonna happen. So we add servers as we need to account for that.
How detailed can you give with the user's permissions? Like if I want to create a user that can just add students and delete students to a class, but can have no other access.
You can do it.
Do something like that?
Yeah. Let's see if it'll let us jump into admin roles. I wonder if we shouldn't try and disconnect the Wi-Fi and reconnect really quick so we can get to some pages. But yes, you can set permission levels, for specific users, like for user groups. You could say this set of users, call them, substitute teacher or whatever it was, and you could turn down everything except one thing. So absolutely custom roles. It's totally
There used to
doable.
be some issues with browsers. How does it work as far as different browsers go?
We in general support the latest 2 versions, but there are a couple that I know we support 3, and that you can always find out by going to our Canvas Help Center. You can search the guides. We'll just pull that up so you guys can see which 2 we support. 3. Netscape.
Oh my God, you're dating yourself.
I love it.
Well, you never know. Some people have only used.
I think it's, I want to say Chrome and Firefox that we support the 3 latest versions, but it's at least 2 with all of the major browsers.
How about the quota for each course size?
We provide 500 megabytes per FTE, but that comes to you guys as bulk storage. So the admin gets to allocate that across the institution as you guys see fit. So if some departments need more storage than others, you can split it up that way. But extra storage is really cheap because we are a cloud. You can literally double your storage for 50 cents per FTE.
So that the quota, it doesn't matter how many courses I'm teaching.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
So what about the student? So what if we do a lot of videos, student responses? Will that count towards the instructor's quota, or?
No. Well, there's course quota, but the videos are actually stored separate from the system because we use Kaltura, so they're stored outside of Canvas. So they don't count against your storage. But yes, there's course storage limits, and then you can have individual user storage limits as well. Yeah.
Do you need a license with Kaltura then, or
nope.
That's part of your service?
Right. Natively integrated.
If I wanted to use my iPad all over, is it going to misbehave at times?
It shouldn't. It shouldn't. I mean, it's software, right? No, I think our mobile apps are pretty awesome. We have one of our solution engineers that took a Canvas MOOC, because we have our Canvas network, and he took a MOOC entirely on mobile just to see what the experience was like, and he said it went really well. We have two apps. One is a speed grader that I showed you guys, and then we have our regular Canvas app that's more geared towards students. And they can see announcements, access file repository. They can submit assignments from the app. They can also participate in discussions, view grades. So it's a pretty robust app. It goes crazy. That happens. It happens sometimes. Okay, let's see if we can get back here. Here's the permissions that we talked about. I know you're interested in custom permissioning, so you can add roles and define those however you see fit.
Who can do that?
Administrators.
Can you make a name? Can you make your name?
The admin would have to, but they could add a role specifically for you if you're super special.
Called the Justin role.
It would be the awesome role.
The super name or something.
We have to allocate that one very carefully, Justin.
I'm going to close some of these and see if it'll be any better. There we go. So here is our calendar. As you can see, it does kind of look like Google Calendars, right? The color-coded calendars. Here's all the courses I'm participating in. I can select which ones I want to view at any time. Okay. Nothing's coming up. Let's see if I need to view. Oh, there's my Intro to Geology. So some stuff should show up on my calendar. So the nice thing about the calendar is students can use it as a planning tool. So they can click on an assignment and they get a preview of the assignment from the calendar, and then they can set an event for themselves to start studying. Okay? I am so sorry we're having issues with our connectivity here. But so here I can say, start working on next assignment and add that to my calendar. And if I need to change the date on that, I just drag and drop it. Okay?
Does this integrate with other calendars?
It does. You can feed this out to anything that accepts an iCal feed. And that's a one-way push, so you don't need to worry about your LMS calendar being littered with all your personal stuff. All your courses will just show up on your Google Calendar, iCal, Outlook. Okay? The nice thing about for the calendar for teachers is that you can change due dates from the calendar by dragging and dropping, and it updates throughout the system. So if you decide you want to push something out a week, you drag and drop it a week, and it updates the syllabus and the modules. And if students have elected to get a notification of due date changes, that notification just automatically goes out.
So when I create an assignment, it puts it on the calendar.
Right. Yeah, and you can actually stub out assignments directly from the calendar as well. So if I want to create a new assignment today, whoops, got a little highlighting, and I want it to be, let's say, draft number 2, what course it pertains to, that Intro to Geology that we're working on, and maybe this is a paper. There it is. So I've just stubbed it out on my calendar. Now I can go back into my course, and it's going to automatically populate on my syllabus with the due date, and it's automatically been added to my gradebook as well. So everything's connected. Then I can go back and add my content later. So it's just another way to set up your course. Some people will create all of the assignments and then add due dates. So you can do that from the calendar. You show your undated events, and you can drag them to what days you want to assign due dates, or you can do it the opposite way as well.
Is there an integration with iTunes View and lecture capture. We have Camtasia Relay.
Ooh, I'm not sure about Camtasia. As far as iTunes U, we don't have an integration with them, but the way teachers are using that is by subscribing to podcasts, because you can subscribe to feeds within Canvas and they'll show up either in the discussions area or the announcements area. So that's nice. So here's April 30th. Here's our draft number 2. So it's just been automatically added to our syllabus by stubbing it out on the calendar. Let's jump into a group and kind of show you what options you have within a group environment. It is similar to within a course, minus the actual grading, the assignments, stuff like that. And we'll take the opportunity to also show the collaboration tool. So it doesn't look like there's not any activity in this group. As you can see, announcement, create wiki pages, see who's in the group, have discussions, file repository, that virtual conferences, so big blue button, or whatever tool you guys want to swap out for that. I can set this up as a Google Doc. Let me give it a name. We're going to say, maybe this is brainstorming session. There we go. I can invite individual students. Because I'm already within a group, I could just have everyone in the entire group here. If you're creating a collaboration from the course, you can invite specific groups to a collaboration. So you don't need to be in the group to start a collaboration. You can do that within the course as an instructor.
And the study group lives outside of course, right?
This one is attached to a course.
Okay.
As I actually learned in our last session, apparently you can have groups outside of courses as well, but those need to be created by an administrator. But otherwise, all the groups are attached to a specific course. One thing I do want to show you guys is how, first of all, let's do analytics. I'm going to go to Intro to Oceanography, where I know we have some good data to visualize. Now, this is kind of our first iteration of analytics. We're going to be expanding this pretty soon. But I think this is pretty nice for teachers the way it is currently even. So right here you can see activity across when a student took an action. So they participated in a discussion, submitted an assignment, contributed to a page, they did something in the system. And blue is page views. So they came in, they looked around, they didn't actually do anything. So you can kind of look at the trend of when people are logging in and when they're actually participating. You can also see assignments and the timeliness of assignment submission. So you can see red is missing, green is turned in on time, yellow is late, and red is missing. To me, this is really nice for pacing and also figuring out, trying to figure out why maybe specifically some assignments didn't get turned in by anybody, right? So good analytics help you ask the right questions, not necessarily provide answers. So I can look at this and say, wow, nobody turned in these 2 assignments. Did I not explain it well enough in class? Did they not get enough time to work on it? What's the deal there?
Did I ever post it?
Yeah. Did it get put in the system, right? We also have grades, so just a box and whiskers chart across the entire course. And then you get a quick view of assignments. What was that?
I like that.
Oh, good. Yeah, it was nice. I do too. So here's the quick view of students. All of these boxes, the students will be in relation to the student that did the most in any one of these categories. So these boxes are going to be compared to this student here, right? But you can even dig down into an individual student to look at their analytics. And the nice thing is that students have access to their own dashboard. So Greg may come in and say, wow, B+, I was sure that I was getting an A. Like, what's going on? And he can look at his activity and say, I felt like I was logging in quite often and doing stuff, but it looks like I actually haven't been. I need to make a conscious effort to get in the system more often. Maybe. Yeah, this is a long course. Here's communication back and forth between the teacher and the student. So orange is when the student sent a message and teacher responded. You can see the back and forth there. Then we have this individual student's assignment submission. So green is turned in on time, and the bar will extend as far left as how early they turned it in. And the same with the late. So the bar will show how late the assignment is, and the red will be missing. So this also helps for pacing because it goes along with the due date, right? So if you go into a couple students' analytics and you see that right here everyone was missing assignments, it might help you kind of fix some pacing issues. And then there's the box and whiskers for the student as well.
Have an export option
For analytics? Not for these specifically. We do have a wide open API. So all the data is there. If you guys want to pull it out and look at it in a different way than we're visualizing it here, you can do that. We do have quite a few canned reports as well. The most popular one is the access report. Between the analytics and the access report, that faculty are usually pretty happy with those two. So you can log into each student or view each student and see when they're logging in and what they're doing. Let's go into Annie Byrne. Hopefully she has some good data. And here's our access report. So we can see when she came in here, when she viewed, when she participated, and last viewed. So this is a demo student, so this is a pretty short list, but this will be a much longer list for a real student. I also want to show you guys modules. Do you guys use modules right now in your current courses? Good. Okay. I love modules. This makes the most sense to me as far as giving content to students and also working through it just as a student. What makes the most sense? So you can come in here, kind of rearrange these however you wanted to, and indent as well. So maybe subtopics under the main topic. You can also organize these by weeks. You can collapse these views if you want. A nice option is also the ability to add prerequisites and locked modules. So this is how we do selective release of content in Canvas, locking until a given date. You can also add prerequisites, so they have to complete the previous module before they can start working on this module. And then here's where you set all your requirements of this is what you must do in order for this module to be complete. So maybe they have to view a specific URL, get a specific score on a quiz. Maybe they need to contribute to a discussion or a page before they can move on. So you can add as many of these requirements as you would like to on this module or any of the modules. Any questions there? It's pretty straightforward. Oh yeah, go ahead, Grace.
I have a comment.
Oh yeah.
I actually created a free instructor course.
Awesome.
And I tried the Word and copy and paste, but it didn't carry over the formatting, maybe because I'm using a free version. So.
Did you pasted it into the rich content editor?
Right.
Was it the HTML code or was it just text?
The rich text editor.
Oh really?
So I removed all of the formatting. So.
Was it from Word?
From Word.
Interesting. Is there a reason why you wanted to paste it in the rich content editor versus just attaching the file or
we do have
doing a preview?
In using, to prefer copy and paste, or with the students, if they're avoid the Blackboard having trouble or lose data, they use a notepad or Word document and type their answer question or paste or copy, so those kind of scenarios. So.
Gotcha. I haven't personally tried that or had issues with it, so I can talk to our guys and see if there's a way we can work around that and kind of lock the formatting so it holds true when pasted into the editor. But most of the time when people are using the Word documents, they'll use the previewer so they can do that. But I understand what you're saying. Not going to be frustrating.
All LMSs have issues in terms of copying and pasting to Word. The only things that they take is the headings, the italicized and the bold. That's it. Anything more specialized, smart art is not going to take it. It doesn't matter if it's on campus or black or whatever it is.
It would be nice though. Should be able to figure it out. We put a man on the moon. We should be able to hold formatting, huh? Okay, let me go through my outline really quick. I know you guys had a rubric of stuff to go through, so I'm going to make sure we hit everything. So we did assignments, we did calendar, analytics, student access report. We talked about the API and mobile. We talked about groups, collaborations, conferencing. Ooh, one more thing I think you guys might be interested in. Let's go back to this homepage and create a new course. We have a built-in migration tool. So if you guys are moving your content from Blackboard into Canvas, there's a migration tool that you can use, independent of getting an admin involved. That should bring over all your content pretty nicely. So start a new course. Maybe we'll do, just Fort Hays test. There we go. Create this course. And we'll go ahead and import some content. So we have this nice little wizard. Import content is number 1, right? Here's a migration tool. Import content from another package or another system. Just a drop-down box. Blackboard 6789 zip file. You browse, find your zip file, and get it in there. Pretty easy. I think we do a really good job. We're constantly building out that migration tool based on feedback of what's not coming over, because things are pretty different, in Canvas versus Blackboard. So the way they're organized.
Sorry, what's the list you have there in terms of LMSs for the other?
We'll do Angel, Vista. Common Cartridge is the industry standard. D12.
So I did export my Blackboard class now, and I put into Canvas, and it really what that was in Blackboard.
Try it. Yeah, I actually think that's one of the best ones, right? Like we get a lot of Blackboard schools, so that's probably one of the best migrations that I've seen. So. Ooh, if you already have it in your Blackboard course.
No, not in Blackboard. Just Google. Designing the course through Google.
Ooh, I'm not familiar with that, so we'd have to look at that a little more closely.
If you can explore it as a common cartridge, it will take you.
Yeah. Did you take common cartridge? It was more like, I don't know about licensing issues, but yeah, if it does common cartridge, it should be good to go. So beyond bringing in content through the migration tool, going from course to, or semester to semester in Canvas is kind of awesome as well. We can do a course copy for that, and this is also a nice way to share templates if you guys have master templates that you're using across the department. Anyone have any good jokes while we're waiting?
What about evaluations? We do it through another system, and with all the analytics and everything. For example, there are some disgruntled students that back there because they never attended.
Yeah.
Or they're caught. Would you be able to integrate all that, showing you the student background and saying, the student hardly attended, blah blah, and he's giving you these values. So, would there be a system? Is there one? Would there be one in the future?
Are you necessarily talking about like course migration or just in general?
Evaluations.
We do.
At the end of the course.
Yeah, we do surveys.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do surveys and get student evaluations that way. But we also integrate with some third-party tools. The one I can think of off the top of my head is Evaluation Kit. So.
But does it sort of show all the analytics with it, giving me feedback in terms of this particular? But of course, then there's no privacy.
Probably.
Of course, evaluation is by design set up to be anonymous.
Oh, nonsense. We're all open. We like to share.
It would be so nice, actually. It would be. Well, it's used as a tool to evaluate faculty as well.
Yeah.
So, they use it as a platform.
Yeah,
yeah, it would be so good. Because you have the analytic, the attended, it's really great.
Yeah, no, I like
I just
this
have one more
element.
question.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't here in the previous group. I apologize for that.
No problem.
Does it integrate with earlier systems like Starfish?
Starfish is one. Susan, do you remember what Jay said about that one, that we had talked to them about developing the integration with them?
He said that they will be talking.
Yeah, we're working with them, but there hasn't been anything done yet.
Early IQ.
So here's our copy from another course. This is how you would go semester to semester. If I want to search Intro to Geology, which I was in before, I'm going to copy from this course. It's going to come up and ask me if I want to copy everything or not. And if I uncheck that box, I get a fine-grained list of everything in my course, so I can go through and say, oh, I want to pull over all the assignments except this one. This one wasn't a good one, so I'm going to pull this one out of there. There's that checkbox, and here's our fine-grained list. The nice thing about this course copy is the ability to, here's everything in our course. Right? So you can pull out certain items, certain rubrics, certain modules, or just copy everything. The nice thing about this, though, is the ability to adjust events and due dates. So if this course went from March to May, and now this is a summer course, it's going to maybe go from June to, let's see, August maybe. Once you set these dates, Canvas will go through and redefine those due dates based on the new term. And you can even define day substitution. So maybe you're going from a Monday, Wednesday course to Tuesday, Thursday. You can say everything on Monday, move to Tuesday, and everything on Wednesday, move to Thursday. And of course, this isn't going to be perfect. This isn't going to take into account the holidays or days off. So, but as we remember, going to the calendar, really easy to look at that and just drag and drop to assign new due dates.
Can you copy your courses at the time of the students too? Or just,
Nope, just the course content. Yeah.
Is there any functionality to merge sections? Like we have several
cross-listing.
sections.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can totally cross-list courses, and then you can view them all within your gradebook, right? Or look at them separately.
Learn how I grade this and make it do it for me.
Yeah, well, that's the goal, just to read your mind and create everything for you.
Do you guys have master shelves and then child core shelves so that everything that I'm updating my master content will be a reflection? It will be the same content in the other courses.
There is a way to do that in the API, but not in the UI.
Because we have courses where adjunct faculty teach, so we want them to have the same content as full-time faculty would have.
You can keep a master template and just keep updating that, but I think the question, and tell me if I'm understanding this wrong, is if I update it in the master, if people have already copied over from that master, is it going to show up? Right, so that won't happen. But if you do that through the API, you can write a script saying, hey, all of these courses, I want you to add this assignment to all of these courses. You just write a script to automate that.
Well, we're about out of time. Is there one last question that someone wants to toss out?
Or anything else you guys wanted to see that we didn't get a chance to look at yet?
The creative content, the Creative Commons license, is that something that students have to deal with?
Tell me what, sorry,
So
repeat the
if I have
question.
a student, I want to have a student turn in a strategic plan, I want to use that plan as an example in future classes. Can I ask a student to submit it as a CC BOD on creative content? I noticed on your site there at the bottom it said Creative Commons license by attribution.
So to that's my knowledge, that's something you set up for your entire course. When you create a new course, you set up your own licensing for the entire course. I don't know that it's for one-off student submissions.
So is it anything the student submits in the class considered that? Or is it?
I don't know.
It's their private.
Susan's like, Carly better not say yes.
If you wanted to use student work, there are forms we can show you to have them sign to allow you to use their intellectual property.
Thank you, Susan.
And if they choose to put it online, that's something that you could suggest to them if they wanted to put it online and assign a Creative Commons license to it.
One thing I do want to show you guys before I let you go is this help button up here in the right-hand corner. As you know, this is something everyone has access to, so you can search those Canvas guides, what we linked over to, directly from this page. You can also report a problem, so if there's a bug, we want to know about it. And this is the best way to go about it because Canvas collects all that back-end information so we can identify what the problem is. But you also have the ability to request a feature, teachers and students. So this is what I had kind of mentioned in our intro, this feature request forum. So you can come here, this is on the right page. Come into feature requests. If there's something you think you have a great idea, you can come in here, search to see if anyone else has requested it, and then vote on it if you would like to see that implemented in Canvas. I'm sure, as you can imagine, there's tons and tons of stuff. I'm sure you guys wouldn't want all that stuff implemented, so it's our job to kind of go through these, decide what aligns with the Canvas vision, but really what you guys care about as well. So I mentioned the ones that have already been implemented. You can see 181 of these. You can vote, you can comment, we open dialogue. This, to me, kind of shows how transparent we are as a company. I know with other LMSs, you go request or submit a comment, and it just falls into like this black box, and you never see it again. So here, you get to come, follow up, have a conversation back and forth, vote on other people. So everyone says they value community feedback. We really do. Really, really, really. So we like to be really transparent. That's the same thing with our release notes, things that are coming. We're going to post here. This is our public website, so everyone has access to everything. We have our community forums. The user guides are great. They really help with training. You guys obviously get training coming on board with us, but This is awesome for individual users to come in. You can search guides, anything pertaining to discussions, and it's going to come up with a whole list. But I can come in for instructor, view all the topics, how to do everything A to Z. I use these on a regular basis. So this helps all of us be a little more independent and not solicit the help of Blackboard support, right, Grace? As much as I'm sure. Surprisingly, a lot of the tickets we get from students are just how to do this. And we just send them the guide. So it's really easy, really nice. So we can avoid a lot of, that kind of interaction by making all of this available to everyone on a public website.
Did you look at the session already?
I don't think we did. Let's pop into one. You can search these by title, body, or author. You can also view them by which ones are unread or read, and which ones are assignments, because some of these discussions can be graded and some are ungraded. You can attach rubrics to discussions as well. These show how many replies are in a discussion and how many of those are unread. And as you scroll through the replies, there will be a blue indicator that will turn gray as you pass them, showing that they're read. So here's the posting. If I want to reply to the main post, I'm going to post up here. So you have access to that rich content editor, so I can do a video post if I wanted to. Here's all the other students' replies, so I can reply to their post, which will be a nicely threaded discussion. One feature that I really like here is the ability to specify that students have to post their response before they can see other students' responses. Because, listen, I'm a good student, but I procrastinated. I have not read the chapter when I was supposed to, so I would go, maybe read some of the other postings and come up with my own based on theirs. So there is a check mark you can say. Make sure they post before they can see anyone else's. Here's one of the video uploads. Any questions about discussions?
Is there a way to collapse things?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sorry, did I say that?
No. I just clicked a button to show you how you do that. Easy. Yeah.
So you can lock the discussion board and after a deadline.
Yep.
So the student can see them, but we can lock it.
Right. So the settings right here, you can close for comments. So they'll be able to see them, but they won't be able to reply any longer.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.